リコたちと仲直りしてほしいんだ。
World Trigger is an underrated series, but it does require some patience. It has a heavy emphasis in teamwork and strategy, and if you are into that, then it's a must-watch. Ninomiya is one of the elites when it comes to tactical prowess, turning the battlefield into a chessboard with every move calculated to perfection. The animation captures the tension of each decision with high precision. Gabimaru finally encounters a Tensen, only to realize he's fighting a gender-fluid plant. The best way to approach this was not to think about it, and that's exactly what Gabimaru does by unleashing a barrage of punches in an attempt to deflower both forms. Takt Destiny mixed classical music with high-octane visuals to deliver a performance worthy of a standing ovation. In this world, D2s hate music. They're basically noise-canceling bugs. Unfortunately for them, our main characters had the volume set to obliterate. This fight probably had the greatest shock factor, going from 0 to 100 real fast and marking the beginning of Painsaw Man. Even when armed with extremely powerful techniques, the devils they faced were far beyond their comprehension, all captured beautifully by Mappa's animators who were probably fighting their own deadline devil. This anime flew under the radar, but out of nowhere Inspector Gadget rolled in, literally roller skating through mud, before busting out the same boxing combo he taught Maharaga. It was a short fight, but the animation exploded with style. A perfect mix of chaos, ideology, and just enough nonsense to make you wonder how this isn't talked about more. This was Finesse vs. Feral. Hoshina, armed with twin blades and anime protagonist swagger, takes on a talking kaiju with Jin Bro energy. He's basically Jin's face slapped onto Levi's body and fights exactly like that. Kaiju number 10 just wanted a worthy opponent. He got diced like sashimi instead. JinWoo faces off against the Demon King in a fight that's as much about spectacle as it is about power levels. This time the enemy was strong enough to force JinWoo to pause his aura farming. The animation goes all out, though at times there's just a little bit too much motion blur. Redline is Madhouse's 7-year-long middle finger to CGI. Over 100,000 hand-drawn frames of pure chaos wrapped in punk aesthetics and engine fumes. It's so wild they even have world-ending bioweapons called Funky Boy. The result is an insane ride that Fast and Furious still hasn't caught up to. The God of High School is about Korean characters, speaking Japanese, using Chinese powers with global fighting styles. The Jin Mori vs. Jegal fight is where they ascend to godhood, and it's only season 1. Blending unearthly martial arts with supernatural flexing. It's divine chaos in motion. Naruto's Everyon mode is the ultimate power flex, a transformation that doesn't just burn chakra, it burns a part of you, a last resort exchange that costs both Naruto and the audience something irreplaceable. But it was a necessary sacrifice to take Isshiki to the village hidden in these hands. Looks like Yami's philosophy of surpass your limits made it to the real world, because the studio definitely pushed the animators past theirs for a filler episode. But hey, no complaints here, especially when the fight features some of the highest power levels in the entire series. Nobody expected ReZero to suddenly drop movie-level animation, but Garfiel finally got the respect he deserved. He showed he's the shonen protagonist of this show with his animalistic, instinct-driven fighting style, a brawl that was raw, brutal, and easily the cleanest the series has ever looked. This is what happens when you steal someone's girl. The original fight was great, but this movie version was even better, showcasing the ruthless nature of this battle. For someone who hasn't watched Bleach, they wouldn't even be able to tell who the villain is. Apart from the questionable logic of stabbing the top of a hat, did they expect a really long head? Afro Samurai is an underrated gem with stunning animation. The monochrome style set against bright blue skies makes every frame pop. The choreography is fluid, stylish, and hits hard. Now all we need is Berserk animated like this.
I'm going to eat your soul. Shit it out and use it to smother your fucking girlfriend to death.
When an ancient force of nature mingles too long with society, you end up with a sassy villain, delivering some of the greatest lines to lighten up a death battle. Trevor, on the other hand, was a pure badass to take on death without an ounce of fear, despite his slim chances of victory. The overall battle was beautifully captured with fluid camera movement. Death may have lost to Trevor, but he definitely claimed a few animators on his way out. As expected from the Fate franchise, the animation was god tier. Gorgon was already terrifying just by being massive, but that speed made it far worse. Every clash was pure spectacle, and somehow that sword held up. At this point, the real noble phantasm might just be weapon durability. This isn't even an action anime, and yet it puts most action anime to shame. Fern and Stark take the spotlight here with two completely contrasting styles. Fern fights with grace and cold precision, and the smooth animation transitions elevate every calculated move. Then there's Stark, bold, explosive, and all muscle, with the animation leaning into his raw power as he realizes he's just built different. It may seem like he had a tough fight, but even in his dreams, he turned an entire species from overpopulating to near extinction in a matter of minutes. It was satisfying to see him have a blast, especially the heartbeat was a beautiful touch foreshadowing the satisfaction of Boros in the final fight of the season. This battle transformed into a cartoonish spectacle. Luffy, the Liberator, fully embraced freedom with an awakening that tossed shonen norms out the window. Kaido, the strongest creature alive, used to inspire fear. Now he inspires bounce sound effects. The King of Beasts was finally dethroned by the Rubber Messiah. Fog Hills has the least amount of episodes in this list for a non-movie series, and yet makes it to the top 10 every year it airs. It has its own unique art style, but it's not just the animation that makes it amazing, but the choreography that pushes it to higher levels, especially that hand-to-hand combat sequence. Jogo could body 99.9% of the verse. That's how much power he displayed in this battle. But he's a cursed to only fight gods. If there's one thing Sukuna loves more than putting his hands in Yuji's pockets, it's mass destruction, and this fight delivered both. You can skip most of the Hashira training arc, just make sure you catch the final few minutes. Muzan Jackson does the cleanest walk in anime history under the moon. In other words, he moonwalks. Then he gets hit with one of the most realistic explosions ever animated and strolls into a full Hashira lineup. With every new My Hero Academia movie, another hero joins the final boss fight. This time, it's Todoroki. What follows is an explosive spectacle with visuals strong enough to melt the screen. Deku takes Dark Might on a nationwide tour with all the classic smashes. Good thing he got KO'd before Deku pulled out the United States of Tariffs. Did you hear that sound in the background? Yeah, that's the animators crying. The animation quality was so absurd you could pause on any frame and still get a wallpaper. Ryder had been saving all her screen time for this one moment, and she made it count. A clash between the epitome of speed and overwhelming power.